You're watching Friday Night Duels on ACC Network Extra. Tonight, a Tobacco Road showdown in Durham as the 5th-ranked NC State Wolfpack treks to Cameron to visit the Duke Blue Devils. And we welcome you inside Cameron Indoor Stadium. I'm Chris Edwards, happy to be alongside Ryan Tice, and delighted to have you with us. Ryan, it's been a great start to the season for NC State. The Wolfpack led by their 10th-year head coach, Pat Papalizio, who's building something special in Raleigh. Already 4 ACC championships.
Yeah, 4 ACC championships, 3 regular season championships, and a school record 7 top 20 NCAA finishes. As
we look at the projected lineups tonight for these two teams, for NC State, boy, the Wolfpack really good this year. 9 of their 10 wrestlers are nationally ranked. What matchups do you have your eye on this evening?
Yeah, I would say there's 3 matchups I got my eye on tonight. It all starts at 149. You see number 3, Tariq Wilson for NC State. He's taking on number 13, Josh Finesilver. They've met twice before, but at 133 pounds. The next one, 174, you see number 4, Hayden Hidley. He's taking on the other Finesilver, Josh's big brother, I guess, in some ways, twins, number 15, Matt Finesilver. And then this guy from Duke doesn't have a number next to his name, but 197, Caden Russell is taking on number 20, Isaac Trumbull. He was the one that spoiled Trumbull's big debut freshman season last year and pinned him in 44 seconds when these two teams met. Trumbull will be looking for revenge tonight.
Duke just 6-6 so far on the season, but don't let the record fool you. Duke's been wrestling really good. They had that matchup against North Carolina last week. You and I were talking before we came on the air tonight. Duke very competitive in that match and has a lot of things they can build on coming into tonight against NC State.
Yeah, when we talked to head coach Glenn Lanham before this match, he was very encouraged by what he saw against the Tar Heels last week. 7 matches were decided by 4 points or less. Duke went 2-5, but that's a big step up from where they've been in previous seasons.
There's Glenn Lanham, the 10th-year head coach of the Blue Devils. 7 NCAA qualifiers in the last 4 seasons. Glenn's really building something special, building a great culture here in Durham.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I like when we talked to him, he was talking about getting that scrappiness, that chippiness back to the Blue Devils. And I think we're seeing a lot of that this year. They are going toe-to-toe with some good teams, and they don't get much tougher than the test they got tonight with the Wolfpack.
Yeah, speaking of NC State, this is a team that has been dominant on the road over the last 7 seasons, 31-3 in road duels. Over the last 3 years, the Wolfpack has won 13 of their last 14 road duel matches. NC State just continues to build that great culture under Pat Papalizio.
Dominant on the road, dominant at home. They're just a dominant wrestling team. A lot of fun to watch them wrestle, but I think we've got some really competitive matchups coming our way tonight. And hey, let's throw a 4th one out there since we got a little time.
Sure.
I think heavyweight could be a good match too. Jonah Niesenbaum for the Blue Devils is wrestling really well. We think we're going to see Tyree Houghton for the Wolfpack. I think that's a pretty even matchup going in on paper.
NC State leads the all-time series 65-21. There's been one draw tonight, the 88th meeting between these two Tobacco Road rivals. NC State 7-1 to start the season. Their only loss this year in terms of a dual match came to number 1 Iowa in a 19-15 decision. So it's not like NC State's been playing bad competition to start the year.
Yeah, and that Iowa match is kind of like we talked about Duke and Carolina. There were a lot of encouraging signs, a lot of guys who stepped up in a big way for the Wolfpack in that match, didn't back down from the challenge. And some guys, you know, like 141, Ryan Jack had an eye-opening match on a national scale against the Hawkeyes.
Ready to go? We'll start things at 125 tonight. Logan Agan will get the assignment for the Blue Devils. Jacob Camacho, the 15th ranked wrestler at 125 for NC State. Camacho, 39-12 overall in his career. Logan Agan, 13-15. And just a bit of a feeling out process for both of these guys in the first 30, 45 seconds of the match.
Yeah, that's normally how it goes here, but I think Logan Agan, Glenn Lanham told us before the match, he thought he was one of the most impressive young guys on his roster, and he's much improved from last year.
Still looking for some more consistency, though, I think, from Logan Agan, according to Glenn.
Yeah, I think right now, like with a lot of young guys, you're seeing the flashes. Now he's got to start putting it together on a more consistent basis, but you see Camacho in deep on a shot. We'll see if Agan's able to fend him off here.
Camacho's won his last 2 matches, including that win over number 29 wrestler out of Campbell, a 3-1 decision a week or so ago in a match that came together in about 24 hours with the Wolfpack trekking down to Bowie's Creek.
Yeah, we had some good matchups in that one as well. Campbell stepped in on late notice after that Virginia Tech cancellation. Egan doing a good job being draped over Camacho, tying up those ankles to prevent a finish here. If Camacho's able to get that right ankle free, we could see a finish, though. Camacho getting close to that takedown. Not yet. That's going to be it right there.
2-point takedown there for NC State. Riding time also favoring the Wolfpack here in this opening match. Egan trying to escape, trying to break a 2-match losing streak. Egan has performed very well as of late, even though he's lost his last 2 matches. Lost the last 2 matches by a combined 2 points. And so he's really getting maybe some more experience.
Oh,
yeah.
The experience helps, no doubt. I mean, this is a guy we're talking about. He was 3-7 overall last year. Now, granted, we got to keep in mind those were all ACC matches last year, and we know how tough the ACC is. But I think Egan has made huge strides. Just got to keep in mind Camacho is probably one of the best 25-pounders in the country, a former ACC champ. And you're seeing it right there. That was a nice mat return. He almost looked like he might have the Turk to a turn, not able to do it, but still racking up that riding time and getting mighty close to a minute here.
Camacho, a all-ACC selection, finished second at the ACC championship in the 2020-21 season, 2-time NCAA qualifier. Final half minute of this opening period.
Egan trying to do a little step over. I don't know if I would advise that against Camacho. Now he's getting back to the fundamentals, getting back up to his feet, but again, nice mat return from Camacho. Only has 12 seconds he's got to hang on to ride him out here.
3 to go in the period. Take another look at this mat return from just a moment ago.
Yeah, you see Egan starts getting up to his feet. Camacho locks his hands, gets his hips into it, and returns him with a slam on the edge of the mat. Nice work, Jacob Camacho.
NC State choosing down here. Camacho with the 2-point edge as we start the second period. What's the strategy behind up or down as you start a second period in a match like this?
I think you always, when you got choice, you want to choose down so you can get that escape point pretty easy. I mean, there are certain instances or certain guys you'll be wrestling where that might not be advisable, but especially right now in the regular season, I'm going down almost every time working, especially if you have a guy who's a little deficient on bottom. Now's the time to get that work because you got to get that figured out before the postseason rolls around.
And when NC State with 9 of their 10 wrestlers nationally ranked, you figure the Wolfpack's going to have a lot of opportunities to get ready for the postseason. A lot of these guys will be on at ACCs and then eventually NCAAs.
Yeah, and the thing about that 9 of 10 ranked, it's a little bit misleading, I would say, because at heavyweight they have 2 different guys in the rankings. Some rankings have Owen Trafon ranked. Some rankings have Tyree Houghton, who we think we'll see tonight, ranked. So I think you can really safely say all 10 are nationally ranked. It just depends which poll you're looking at.
3-point lead for Camacho.
Nice snap down there. Good job, Egan, circling with Camacho, getting back up to his feet, staying out of danger. Camacho in on a low single. Short time here. He's only got about 20 seconds to finish, and Egan's going right back to draping over the top, trying to tie up Camacho's ankles. Camacho might have him in the spot here, though.
Yep.
He's got that Turk.
2 points there for NC State. Final 3 seconds of the period. And a 5-0 lead for Camacho after 2.
And that's huge by Camacho, getting those takedowns and then riding him out for the rest of the period. Not giving up that cheap 1 point with a second or 2 left. Finishing out on top, keeping that shutout going.
Hagan collecting himself and now ready to go for this third and final period here, 1:25.
Camacho trying to throw that leg in on the right side. It kind of allows Hagan to get up and out of there.
They do indeed give Hagan a point there for the reversal. Back to neutral here.
Deep shot from Camacho there. Nice high C. Picked up a warning, a stalling warning against Hagan as well. His first, so no points yet. Camacho doing a great job getting to his Turk, and he might have Hagan in trouble.
2 points there. Hagan in big trouble. NC State fans can sense it here in Durham.
Camacho gets his 4 near fall points. Now he's going to cut Hagan, and
And
kind of possumed him a little bit there. Got the cradle locked up, looking for the fall.
Step through there. Less than a minute to go in the period. Can Camacho get the fall to end it?
He's been pretty close here a few times.
And he does. The fall for Camacho in the third period.
Jacob Camacho, a little bit of a slow start, but he really got going there as the match wore on. Late takedown in the second, dominant third period into the pin.
Second fall this year for Camacho. His first on December 20th against Binghamton.
Yeah, and right here he kind of feinted like he was going to let Hagan out of there with a cut. Hagan relaxed maybe a little bit, allowed Camacho to lock up that cradle, and once he settled in, you knew it was only a matter of time. There was too much time left on the clock, and might have been called a little bit late. I mean, if that referee was in position, it looked like Hagan was stuck earlier than that.
Now on to 133, Drake Doolittle for Duke against 17th ranked Kairini for NC State. Handicap this one for us a little bit as we get 133 underway.
Well, Arini's in the national rankings right now, checking in number 17 per Intermat, and he might be going for a big move here. He has got some leverage there if he decides to throw that. Nice job, Drake Doolittle, getting out of trouble there. Even though he gave up the takedown, he was in a bad spot.
2 quick points here for NC State and Kairini. Blue Devils get one for the reversal as we get back to neutral now. 7 matches last season for Arini, the redshirt freshman this year. All of his matches a season ago came at 141, and they were all in extra matches for NC State. Redshirt of the 2019-20 season. Sorry, Ryan.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think 133 is the right weight for Arini. I mean, he was up at 41 like you mentioned last year, but coaches, I think he feels the same way. I mean, 33 was the opportunity for him to get in the lineup and be really, really good on a national level.
He's been wrestling really well as of late. 2 of his last 3 matches have been decided by a major decision, his last by a technical fall. Going for another big move here. 2 more points for Arini.
Yeah, working some of that upper body, getting the takedown. And Arini, sometimes you'll see a wide spread with guys in the national rankings. Some outlets might have him 25, others will have him in the 17, 18. Arini's really consistent in these national rankings. He is ranked number 17 or 18 by 5 of the 6 major outlets.
Out to a 4-1 advantage in this opening period. Duke's still looking for maybe a little bit of consistency at 133, and maybe Drake Doolittle has been that consistent wrestler at 133 for Glenn Lanham. He started 3 out of the last 5 matches for Duke at this weight class.
Yeah, when we talked to Lanham before this match, he admitted, Doolittle might be a little bit undersized at 133 still. That's something they're working on, but, he's a fighter in his coach's words. He works hard, and they're just waiting for him to have that breakthrough moment.
Approaching the final half minute of this opening period.
Nice shot by Arini there, going upper body and then just drop it, changing his levels and dropping, getting an easy shot, making it look easy with that quick finish.
Quick 4-point lead for Arini.
And he just eclipsed a minute of riding time as well.
Was an extra point that will be added to the score at the end of the match.
And you see Arini taking a peek at the clock. He knows he's got only 3 seconds to ride this thing out.
Choice here for the Blue Devils. Doolittle will defer.
I imagine Arini's going to take down here.
Strategy behind deferring?
Just getting choice for the third period is all it is. Just having that option a little bit later in the match. That was quick right up to his feet. And Doolittle looked like he was going to try to go for a throw on Arini, and maybe that's where that size comes into play a little bit. Still growing into this 133-pound class. Lateral drop from Kyle Arini. And right now, if I'm Arini, I'm switching that to a half Nelson. But Doolittle, like Glenn Lanham said, he's a fighter, fights off his back there.
Big commanding lead here for Arini. 75 seconds to go in this second period.
And I think right now the coaches are probably wanting Arini to work on his top game, so that's exactly what you see him doing. And he's not getting any near fall points right there. No count from the referee. I didn't see him. I don't see him holding. There's the count. So he's holding 4, and once he scores those points, that's going to do it.
Yep. Huge win for Arini as NC State claims the first 2 matches. It's a 19-2 victory for Kai Arini. Another major win for NC State. We'll have more of this duel from Raleigh coming up on the other side of this break. You're watching Friday Night Duels on ACC Network Extra. Big lead for NC State through a couple of matches here in Cameron tonight. Chris Edwards, Ryan Tice, great to have you with us. And we'll get a forfeit here for Duke at 141 as Ryan Jack will come out and get the forfeit victory. Nobody weighed in for the Blue Devils at that weight class, so the freshman Ryan Jack picks up the victory for NC State, his 19th career victory. And now one of the ones that I think everybody's pretty excited about, this matchup here at 149, the number 3 ranked Tariq Wilson for NC State against Josh Finesilver, ranked number 13 in the rankings this week.
I think this is the matchup everybody is looking the most forward to in this duel. No question about it.
Wilson wrestled at 141 last season for NC State, named a 2021 All-American. ACC champion at 141, was a finalist the season before, so he has certainly been there. And then, of course, for Josh Finesilver, he's put together a really nice season for the Blue Devils. And Glenn Lanham saying that the season for Finesilver is to prepare him for nationals. Don't really care about the dual meets, care about putting kids in a position to get on the podium at NCAAs.
Great low single there from Finesilver, but Tariq Wilson's not going to give up the takedown that easy. Gets back to his sprawl, starting to get his hips back. You see Finesilver still has it locked, so I would say advantage Finesilver, but it's pretty close to 50-50 here with the way Wilson's been able to sprawl that leg back.
But Finesilver's not going to be overwhelmed perhaps by this moment as we go back to neutral. A lot of top 25 matches on his ledger already this season.
Oh, he's been going through an absolute murderer's row in his last couple matches. He had All-American John Milner from App State in his last 2 matches ago. He had Zach Sherman of UNC, a guy that's given him a lot of trouble in the past in his last time out. He had Josh Edmond of Missouri, who's nationally ranked before that. So, and he's been going toe-to-toe with these guys. He got the win over Sherman. He got the 1-point win over Edmond and lost to Milner.
And the win last week over Sherman, a sudden victory decision as well, and his first win over a top 20 opponent this season. And he became the second Blue Devil with a top 20 victory. The other, his brother, So the fine silver is leaving a lasting legacy on Duke wrestling, not just this year, but for the last several years. Final minute of the first period.
You see Wilson in on that single, had it up, but fine silver is a phenomenal scrambler, great defense, and now he's got him back down on the mat, kind of more in a 50-50 position, and once again we get a stalemate. Fine silver's really good at, I mean, he's good in all areas, but he's really good as a scrambler. So I think that's one of the keys I'm looking for in this match. Which one of these two guys, because Tariq Wilson's hard to score on now too, which one of these guys is able to get his takedown and, more importantly, finish?
So what's the strategy there? Take us inside of the cat and mouse game that's going on between these two guys.
I really think you got to stay fundamental and create angles. And right there, I thought Fine Silver did a great job, you know, going low, coming up, and then going low again and shooting in. You see how deep he is. Now again, Tariq Wilson's not going to give that up easy, but Fine Silver's in a great position right now.
15 seconds to go in the period.
And this is where Tariq Wilson's length comes into play in a major way. You see how long he is, and you see how flexible he is as well.
And that's the period.
A lot of action for a 0-0 first period, in my opinion.
If you had to score that period like a boxing match, who gets the advantage in that first period?
I got to give, because of that exchange at the end, I would have to say 10-9 Fine Silver there. Luckily, we don't have judges.
We don't,
scorecards
no,
here.
we do not.
I don't think they trust me with that responsibility. Fine Silver out right away to start the second period, takes the 1-0 lead. And going right back to his offense. Got to love that if you're Duke. Not waiting around. And this is where Tariq Wilson almost likes to lull you into, like, oh, I just got my hand on my knee and I'm not really going for it. And then he'll just strike. So you can't fall for that trick. As I'm sure Tariq Wilson has caught that with many over the years.
Wilson 7-0 this season. Picked up a 4-0 decision last time out. This will be his second top 25 matchup this year. Defeated Edmond from Missouri in an 11-8 decision back in late December.
Yeah, common opponent for these two guys. Both beat them. Fine Silver was in a little bit of a closer match, 11-10, but both of those, that's a lot of points there. Pat Papalizio liking that Tariq Wilson is going towards his fakes there. And look at Fine Silver.
2-point takedown there for Fine Silver.
Great job wrestling through it. And I would even call that almost like a counter attack there. You know, Wilson shot, Fine Silver defended, and then attacked right away, gets the takedown. Great job doing that.
Final 15 seconds coming up of this second period. Fine Silver trying to close it out.
This would be a big escape for Wilson if he's able to get out.
And he does, with 5 seconds to go. The 1 point for the escape. And that'll take us to the final period.
That was a tremendous Granby roll there from Tariq Wilson. I love the takedown from Josh Fine Silver, but that was just as good of an escape there from Tariq.
How about this exchange between these two guys at the end of the period?
Yeah, you see both guys down on their knees, and then Fine Silver just wrestles through it, gets the takedown. And here we go, the Granby. Gotta love seeing this. Using the momentum Fine Silver was giving him, and gets away.
3-1 lead for Fine Silver.
Wilson can't wait around too long on bottom here. Fine Silver's got over 30 seconds of riding time. He gets away.
Escape there. Pulls Wilson to within a point.
And this is where, if you're NC State, you tell Tariq, don't panic, but you got to go after your offense a little bit. If you're just going to stand there with your elbow on your knee, it's going to be a 3-2 final decision in the other guy's direction.
When does Wilson start thinking about making a move?
Again, if I'm him or if I'm his coach, I want him doing it now. you can't be waiting around for the last 15, 20 seconds. That's a dangerous way to wrestle.
Feinsilver looking to pick up a win over his second consecutive top 20 opponent. This would be the biggest win for him this season.
It would also put him in I think it would put him in the driver's seat in the ACC at this weight class, beating Tariq Wilson. Now there's still Bryce Andonian of Virginia Tech, but I think if he beats Sherman and he beats Wilson, I think it puts him in the driver's seat. A little scramble going on here.
Wilson trying to get the point. Nothing yet with half a minute to go in the match. Feinsilver by 1, trying to hold on.
And Wilson looking to turn around and get the crossface for the 2. He's very close to getting it.
Nothing yet. There's the 2 for NC State with 10 seconds to go. Does Feinsilver have another point in him? Feinsilver trying to escape with 4 seconds left. A 1-point lead for Wilson.
And they just issued Tariq Wilson a stalling call. I don't know about that. And Pat Papalizio is at the table asking probably, I imagine, the same question.
But just a warning, no points are awarded.
Exactly right. So Tariq Wilson's got 4 seconds to ride him out, and he'll win the match. Or Josh Feinsilver's got 4 seconds to escape, take it to overtime.
Feinsilver looking for the escape. He won't get it. It's Wilson at the end who rallies for the victory. He remains perfect and moves to 8-0. What a match.
Tariq Wilson getting it done late. You see the scramble. He keeps spinning around behind. Doesn't have it yet. This final spin gets it. Back up, 20-0.
Ranked NC State out to a big lead through 4 matches in Cameron Indoor Stadium tonight. We get things going at 1:57 now. It's freshman Ed Scott, ranked number 10 for NC State, against Wade Unger for Duke. And Unger, really good matchup against O'Connor, the number 6 wrestler for North Carolina. 2-point takedown there for Unger. Back to neutral now as NC State gets the escape, 2-1 in favor of Unger.
And he's got to watch out for this. This is Ed Scott's Ed lock. Great job, great defense there from Unger. Sorry, didn't mean to jump in, but
Unger trying to build some momentum from that match against North Carolina last week.
100%. He looked great against Austin O'Connor. Eventually fell 6-2, but an impressive performance against a national champ. And hey, this is an impressive performance right here, coming out off the bat, scoring 2 takedowns against a guy that is currently ranked 10th in the country.
21-6 career record for Ed Scott, 15-0 this year.
Fireman's carry, that was sweet move there from Ed Scott.
Got the 2-point takedown, now looking for more. Couple of extra points there as Scott will surge into the lead.
Just a 2 count, 2 near fall. And Scott going right to work on top with a tilt. And he's going to get all 4 backers there.
Such a great start for Unger, and then Scott just like that turned it on.
It's
the 4 points.
Showing the ref his hand saying, hey, I released the lock. Give me my 4 so I can get back to work.
Scott has 5 victories via fall this year. He's played a challenging schedule as well from December the 20th to January the 3rd. 3 consecutive matches against top 15 opponents, including back-to-back matchups against top 10 foes.
Yeah, and those worked out pretty good for him. Got a win over number 8, Caleb Young of Iowa. That was a 1:10 fall, and then a 6-4 win over Quincy Monday, number 5 out of Princeton. So Ed Scott wrestling real well this season. And we talked to head coach Pat Papalizio before this match, and he was telling us, you know, Ed Scott is mad about how last year went. His true freshman year, he gets thrown into the lineup, you know, tough schedule with all ACC opponents, and he was cutting a lot of weight wrestling down at 49, but you see the full blue chip recruit Ed Scott that they thought they were bringing in this year.
Unger trying to hold on for the final seconds.
He is going to get 2 more near fall points right before the buzzer.
So a 12-4 lead for Scott through one period, who dominated large portions of that opening period.
Yeah, I got taken down twice to start off with, but this was a sweet fireman's carry right back to 2 near fall points. That put him in the lead.
You mentioned the pedigree for Scott coming to Raleigh. 151-6 for his high school career. Most wins in DuBois area history, the native of DuBois, Pennsylvania. And another 1 point there for the escape.
And not only the sheer number of wins he had in high school, I'm sure this won't be a surprise to anyone that has watched him wrestle. He was also an incredible pinner, 105 in his high school career.
Went 79-0 over his last 2 seasons of high school.
Not many guys are doing that in Pennsylvania. It's interesting that Unger's starting to dig underhooks a little bit there, when I feel like he was scoring early on in the match by keeping a little bit of space and staying out of those ties. We'll see if he changes his approach here, and that looked like a little unintentional eye poke.
Official timeout here.
No malicious intent there.
Certainly not.
Accidental, and the referee stopped in without it causing any issues. Unger was ready to go, though, as soon as Scott took a second to collect himself.
Final minute of the second period.
Unger going back to digging those underhooks. Interesting. And that's kind of what you leave yourself open to.
2 more points there for Ed Scott. An 11-point advantage for the number 10 wrestler at 157.
See what Ed Scott's got working on top in these last 30 seconds. He is almost at 2 minutes of riding time. Goes right back to that turn. Nothing yet.
And 4 more points for Scott. The near fall count, and now 5 seconds to go in the period. And that is going to do it. A convincing victory for Ed Scott, who moves to 16-0 on the season. And NC State continues to add to their commanding lead.
Yeah, Ed Scott comes out, gives up the first 2 takedowns of the match, comes back in a major way on his way to that tech fall.
We continue our Friday night duels from Cameron Indoor Stadium with the 165-pound weight class. It is Thomas Bullard for NC State, Gabe Dennett for Duke. Dennett, the transfer from Stanford, didn't compete last year, sitting out, but out to a 7-7 record at 165 this year for Duke. Meanwhile, for Bullard, 9-4 so far on the campaign. Yeah,
Bullard's a guy ACC wrestling fans know very well. They probably feel like he's been around since 1990. 4-time NCAA qualifier, one of 4 sixth-year seniors on the Wolfpack roster.
It's interesting when you look at this roster for NC State. They've got those 6th-year guys, no seniors, but they've also got 3 juniors on the roster. So they've got some experience, but also some youth.
Yeah, they got a nice mix there. And, you know, when you got the 6th-year seniors able to come back like they do, the Hayden Hidleys of the world, the Tariq Wilsons of the world, you're not going to turn those guys away. And that, you know, Pat Papalizio has told me those guys are basically like assistant coaches right now. You know, he's told me many times Hayden Hidley could be a Division I assistant coach today.
But it really changes the look of this team. You look at NC State, if they didn't have the 6th-year wrestlers coming back. It's a very young squad outside of those 4 wrestlers.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head there. It would be a completely different team, a completely different outlook. All that stuff would be a lot different without those guys.
But with that thought in mind, what does that do for the future of this program where some of these underclassmen can learn under some of these 60-year wrestlers that have been through these ACC wars?
Yeah, I think there's positives and negatives to it, obviously. I think the negative from some perspectives are those younger guys got to wait another year maybe to get in the lineup. But the positive is they get to wrestle with these guys who have been there and done it.
2-point takedown there for Bullard. First 2 points of the match. Less than a minute to go in the first period.
And this is where Bullard's at his best. On top, and he is mean on top at times.
Now, on the flip side for Denon, he's been wrestling pretty well as of late. Lost his last couple of matches, but his last 2 matches have been decided by just a single point each time. All of his losses this season have come by 3 points or less.
And some good competition in among those losses as well. I know Will Fermato of App State, he's an NCAA qualifier. He just wrestled Sonny Santiago of UNC last week. That kid was a blue chip recruit that everybody in the country wanted. So definitely some encouraging things to build on there for the Stanford transfer.
And Glenn Lanham talked about it with us, said that he felt like especially this weight class last week against North Carolina gave up maybe some backdoor opportunities that cost Duke at 165, but things to build on for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, I loved his perspective on it. He would rather have those shortcomings or errors, whatever you want to call them, happen now than in the postseason. Use it as a learning experience and don't make those same mistakes again.
2-0 lead for Bullard after the first period. Well, that's what he said. We're preparing guys to be on the podium at NCAAs and using the regular season to get experience so that these guys are not surprised when they get to Detroit in the NCAAs.
Exactly. And we might revisit this when we get into our next match with Matt Feinsilver. But he went through a little tough stretch at the Southern Scuffle there. And Glenn Lanham said, I'd rather him learn how to wrestle back now than do it for the first time at NCAAs.
Then trying to escape, but instead another 2-point takedown there for NC State and Thomas Bullard.
Yeah, that was actually a reversal there for Bullard. He started off on bottom, able to switch around and turn it around, get his 2.
Bullard approaching a minute of riding time here.
And this is where he is so good on top. You see him working that leg in on the right side. He loves to work a power half. He's not quite in position to do that now, but I would not be surprised if we see that before the end of this period. Right now, just going for quick 2, not able to get any count. Oh, now he's got both legs in. This is trouble.
Dennett trying to escape. Hear the NC State staff saying, hey, take your time.
Yeah, you're in great position. You got almost a full minute to work. Just stay patient, and you see Dennett working his way out, able to get those double boots out, but got to be careful for that little rock back tilt that Bullard keeps going for. And Bullard just keeps, as soon as Dennett gets those legs out and starts to make progress, he's got both boots back in. And right now, this is a bad spot for Duke. On the bottom, stretched out on his stomach, but hey, good job. He kicked that second leg out. Now Bullard's only got one leg in.
Dennett just trying to survive the last 11 seconds of the period.
Yeah, and I think our camera caught it. He was just issued a stalling, his first, so just a warning at this point. But he is going to have to get more active on bottom.
And that's the period.
Honestly, though, it might be a win that he hasn't given up any near fall points because Thomas Bullard is just that good on top.
Starting at neutral.
Yeah, Dennett did not want to go back underneath the Bullard. Probably the right call. Anyone with a scouting report on Bullard knows about that. Good sprawl there from Bullard. Now he takes a shot Jeanette needs to use this front headlock, and he's not going to be able to. Bullard back out of trouble. And Bullard staying on him, keeping the pressure up.
Final minute of this final period. Bullard looking for his 3rd consecutive victory, would pick up his 10th win overall.
Good deep shot there from Jeanette, but Bullard is so good when he drapes over the top here. It's very difficult to finish on him. Of course, he had a twin brother that was on the NC State wrestling team last year, and I am sure they practiced this position quite a bit growing up.
Yeah, Daniel could have come back and wrestled for NC State, but got married, elected to not come back and wrestle for the Wolfpack this season.
And I think him earning those All-America honors last year played a big part in that decision. You know, he kind of got the mission done there at NCAA's.
And Bullard with just 5 seconds remaining, trying to close out what will be his 10th victory of the season. And more points on the board for NC State as Bullard wins it 4-0.
Yeah, 5-0 when we add on the 2:27 of riding time. So dominant shutout win there for the 6th-year senior from NC State, Thomas Bullard.
3rd consecutive match that Bullard has pitched a shutout.
He's awfully difficult to score on. There's no question about that.
Another ranked matchup coming up next. Hayden Hidley and Matt Finesilver. Hidley number 4, Finesilver number 15 at 174.
Our first Finesilver didn't disappoint. That was a great match. So we'll see what this one has in store. This is the first matchup between these two guys since Hayden Hidley has been at 157 all of his career until this season.
A win for Hidley tonight, Ryan, will be his 100th career victory at NC State. Only 5 wrestlers at NC State have reached 100 career victories prior to this season. The last, Kevin Jack, did it in 2018, and Jack is now an assistant coach with NC State.
And the thing that puts in the perspective how hard it is to get to 100 wins, NC State in its history has had more NCAA wrestling champions than 100 match winners. It just takes an incredible amount of consistency, maybe a little bit of luck with injuries and things of that nature as well, but it is awfully difficult to get to 100 college wins. And of course, if not for the COVID year,
right,
Hayden Hidley probably wouldn't have that opportunity either.
And that's my question, too, with a lot of these athletes now getting the COVID year. I'm not going to say it's going to become more commonplace, but maybe we see it a little bit more often than we have in the past.
Yeah, I think that's probably a safe bet. I mean, just a whole extra year for some of these guys. Now, the flip side of that is they did have the year last year where it was basically just ACC matches, very few outside of that. But I think guys were still able to rack up, 20 matches if they went to nationals by the end of the season.
Now for Matt Finesilver, really hasn't wrestled in 2 years due to some injuries. And this is what we're talking about in the last match. He had that trying to get back into wrestling shape and trying to learn from some of these experiences to get to NCAAs.
Yeah, he kind of admitted to Glenn Lanham, the coach told us after he fell to the wrestlebacks at the Southern Scuffle. He said, I wasn't ready for that first wrestleback match. And like we said earlier, learn that lesson now and take it forward to the postseason, because that's a tough lesson to learn in the postseason.
Glenn Lanham just saying he needs to be more confident in what he's capable of. 2 points there for Hidley.
A good job of sticking with it and finally getting that finish on Matt Finesilver, who is out right away.
Gets the escape. Finesilver on the board. Finesilver dropped a 8-5 decision to a ranked foe in Chapel Hill last Friday. This will be his 3rd consecutive matchup against a ranked opponent.
Yeah, and the match before Chapel Hill was one I was really impressed by. That was against App State's Thomas Flitz. 4-0 win, so it might not stand out just at a quick glance on the box score, but I went digging. Thomas Flitz had not been shut out since his freshman year, and he's a fifth-year senior as well, I believe.
First period comes to a close. Two to 1 lead for NC State and Hayden Hidley thanks to this takedown.
Yeah, you see Fine Silver was trying to create a little bit of a scramble here. Hidley sticks with it, comes out, doubles it off, gets the finish.
Hidley, the first ever 4-time All-America in NC State history. Obviously, if he becomes an All-American this year, he'll be the first 5-time All-American in Wolfpack history.
Hey, maybe in college history, right?
Perhaps. How about this, though? Hidley has won 38 straight dual matches, the longest active streak on NC State's roster. 38 straight.
It's incredible, especially when you think about how long those 38 matches stretches back to.
It hasn't lost a dual match since December 16th of 2018. And he's out to a 3-1 lead here with 90 seconds to go in this second stanza.
And the really impressive thing about that 38-match win streak, you think about some of the quality wrestlers he's had to face within the ACC, and obviously NC State's schedule is pretty tough. So that hasn't been 38 pushovers by any means.
If he can hold on to win here, it'll be his third-ranked victory of the season. What does Matt Finesilver need to do here to get 2 points and try to get back into the match?
He's just got to create some angles, create some openings for a shot here is what I would say. I mean, Hidley is a guy that never gets out of position, so easier said than done, obviously. But that's what it comes down to me. I mean, you gave up a takedown in the first period, so you've really got to wrestle here. And this might be where Finesilver's got an advantage. He loves scrambling around. Trying to tie up Hidley's arms. And he's doing a good job of tying up Hidley's right arm there. And Corey Bell, the Duke assistant, trying to tell Finesilver, go hunting. You can get this. You can get this. You can get this takedown.
Still plenty of time for Finesilver, about 20 seconds. Back to neutral here.
And I think if you're Duke, this is kind of what you want. You want to see Finesilver trying things, trying to get to his offense, scrambling around, because that's probably the best opportunity he has to secure a takedown, is to create those scrambles.
So 2-point lead for Hayden Hidley as we go to the final period.
Finesilver up to his feet right away. Hidley drops down to a single. Finesilver in a bit of a whizzer position here and is out.
Yeah, gets the 1 point for the escape there. So now just a 1-point match. Can Finesilver in the last 90 seconds find a way to either tie it or take the lead and win this one. It'll be the first victory for the Blue Devils tonight.
Oh, and it would be a massive one for Matt Finesilver. Like we mentioned, he's been off the mat for the last 2 years. You know, and Glenn Lanham told us he thinks Finesilver's more, he's capable of showing more. He's at, as Glenn said, just the tip of the iceberg right now in his comeback to wrestling. Hidley in deep on a shot now.
Finesilver trying to escape. Final minute.
Finesilver turns back into him.
2 points there for Hidley, and that might do it.
And Finesilver needs to really bail out since the referee has already awarded the takedown, and instead we're going to get a stalemate call. But he needs to just try something big now. He's running short on time and down 3 points. I think it is important. That's the second caution against Hayden Hidley. So nothing yet, but next one will cost him. I think it's worth noting, Finesilver was able to get out very, very quickly after Hidley's first takedown. So we'll see if he's able to duplicate that.
Instead, Hidley trying to finish this one off with an exclamation point.
Yeah, doubling it off. Nice mat return there from Hayden Hidley. Just an absolute technician on the wrestling mat.
Feinsilver trying to escape with 15 seconds left. Hidley just won't let him go.
A version of running the pipe there for the mat return. Escape here for Feinsilver, but it might be too late. Only 5 seconds left.
2 seconds, and it's Hidley with his 100th career win.
.100 career wins. Congratulations, Hayden Hidley. Wolfpack's up 31-0.
Chris Edwards, Ryan Tice from Cameron Indoor Stadium tonight. We continue with this Friday night duel from Cameron with 184. And quickly, 2 points for the third-ranked wrestler at 184, Trent Hidley, wrestling against Vincent Baker of Duke. Baker, the junior, 10-11 this season. Hidley, 9-0.
Yeah, Trent Hidley, the younger but bigger
And a quick pin. How about that?
brother of destruction, and you see what he does right there.
Didn't take very long. About 24 seconds to end this one.
Yeah, we could almost show you the whole match here. So there's the takedown. You see Trent Hidley goes right into a turn right here and ends it pretty quickly.
Third win via fall this year for the number 3 wrestler in 184. So now we turn the page. 197, Isaac Trumbull for NC State, Caden Russell for Duke.
I think this has the potential to be another good match. We highlighted it at the top mainly because Caden Russell came out and pinned Isaac Trumbull last year in 44 seconds. I'm willing to bet that will not be the case this season. He kind of spoiled an excellent debut that Trumbull had as a true freshman last year, but because of COVID, he's still listed as a true freshman.
And Trumbull trying to get into the NCAAs. You know, he lost a wrestle-off with his teammate for a starting spot in the postseason last year, so he's trying to find a way to get into the postseason and off to a really nice start, 10-3 to his season.
Yeah, Pat Papalizio has told me many times last year did not sit well, much like Ed Scott, who we talked about earlier at 157. Last year did not sit well with Isaac Trumbull. You know, he expected to be the guy. He expected to be wrestling at NCAAs. Was not the case after he lost a wrestle-off with his teammate Nick Reenan, but Reenan down at 184 now, and this weight class is all Isaac Trumbull for the Wolfpack. We've already eclipsed last year's elapsed time between these two.
Caden Russell last year, the starter for Duke at 197, went 1-6.
But that was a big one there.
It was.
Nice fireman's carry to a dump by Russell, but no points. Great scramble there from Isaac Trumbull.
How much do you think last year's match is on the mind of Trumbull tonight?
Oh, I bet it's probably been, I don't know if it's been exactly 365 days since that happened, but I would not be surprised if he's thought about that, you know, every day for however many days it's been.
Final minute.
You see a much more conservative approach from him this time around.
It was interesting in his last matchup against Campbell last week, just a 1-0 decision for him for the victory to move his record to 10-3. He's been in some tight matches. 2 of his last 3 have been decided by a point.
Yeah, and he's had some real tough competition in that stretch, including a win, a really big win over number 4 Rocky Elam of Missouri, 5-3 victory. He's been a little bit up and down, though. He did against Princeton. He got pinned, and I believe he was wrestling Princeton's backup even in that match. So there have been some up and downs for Isaac Trumbull.
That's part of a back-to-back loss stretch there, and you wonder if maybe that matchup against Warner, the previous matchup, maybe there was some residual effects with that match against Princeton the next time out.
You see Caden Russell going for that dump, and Isaac Trumbull doing a great job getting his belly back to the mat, getting his legs away, and preventing any points being scored. Great little scramble there from these big guys.
I'm sure for NC State, though, just nice to be able to wrestle, number one, but number two, be able to wrestle in front of patrons. Their last two matches, no fans in attendance, shades of last year because of some COVID protocols against both Princeton and Campbell.
Yeah, they have not wrestled a duel in front of a crowd since December 21st when they were down at the National Collegiate Duels when they wrestled number one Iowa. And that was a neutral site, so not really a, home crowd for anybody.
Should also point out, too, for NC State, they have rescheduled that Virginia Tech matchup. Was announced earlier today as a stoppage. And 1 point here for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, they're calling an illegal move. Did not hear what they called exactly.
So Russell the first on the board. But just to finish the thought announced earlier today, Virginia Tech and NC State, we're going to wrestle a non-conference duel. That'll be on February the 20th.
Yeah, it's great news for ACC wrestling. It's great news for wrestling fans across the country. It's great news for both NC State and Virginia Tech's programs that we don't get deprived of that match, because there should be some excellent individual matchups in that one.
And if you're wanting to see the Hokies before that matchup, you can see Virginia Tech on ACC Network against these same Blue Devils a week from tonight, next Friday, as part of our Friday Night Duel series.
Trumbull going to work on top here. He's got Russell stretched out on his stomach. It's a bad position to be as a wrestler. Now he's working that half on the left side.
Plenty of time here for Trumbull. Half a minute left. Russell just trying to survive the last 20 seconds.
A lot of NC State fans here calling for stalling in Cameron Indoor.
It's a good contingent of State fans that have made the trek from Raleigh tonight. And the State fans very vociferous in their disagreement with the lead official. 4 seconds to go in the period. And Russell will carry a 1-0 advantage to the third period.
1-0 advantage, but he was ridden out, so he gave up 2 minutes of riding time there. Important to note that. And I think we've got a little stoppage. I think Russell's blood, yeah, nose maybe, lip. Looks like his lip.
All right, so heading into this third period, what's your synopsis of the first two stances between these two and what needs to happen in the third period?
Well, if you're Isaac Trumbull, all you got to do is get out, in less than a minute, and then if nothing else changes, you win when the riding time point gets tacked on. I don't think you should be content settling for that, though. I think he should be looking to escape quickly and then get to a takedown. If you're Caden Russell, I think you try to ride for a while, but it might make sense for Caden Russell to cut him pretty quickly here and just get back to work in neutral and look for a takedown to win it that way.
Caution there. A Duke caution. That's the first against Caden Russell.
Russell does look like he's going to wrestle on top for a little bit, so I imagine he's going to try to take riding time down under a minute. We'll see if he's able to collect a minute on top.
You like that strategy? Didn't work out.
I didn't think it would.
Escape there.
So now if you're Caden Russell, you got to be selling out for a takedown. Isaac Trumbull's aware of that. Right now with the riding time, it is a 2-1 lead for Trumbull, but a takedown could change things in a major, major way.
Russell went for it.
And both of these guys are capable of big moves. So this one is not going to be over until the clock shows zeros. Trumbull needs to just stay in good position here. He should know the situation. And I think he does. You know, he's taking a little time, crouching down, maybe taking a couple extra seconds before he gets up.
Trying to shorten the match a little bit with 40 seconds to go.
That riding time point is clinched at this point.
So Russell has to get the takedown here in the last 30 seconds to get the victory.
And his coaches are asking him to put 2 shots together. I didn't think he was able to really do that yet. And now he's kind of stuck underneath the Trumbull. We've got a stalemate call. So he's got fresh life here with 21.5 seconds, but he knows what he has to do. Isaac Trumbull knows what he has to do.
Going for the takedown here with 18 seconds left. And ushered out of bounds. We'll start back from neutral.
Trumbull trying to put that hand back in bounds so the clock keeps ticking.
Trumbull trying to grind out the victory tonight.
That's a stall call on Trumbull, not going to affect anything.
And Trumbull will get the win. His 11th of the season. And a methodical 2-1 victory for Trumbull over Caden Russell.
Yeah, just a solid workmanlike victory. Gets revenge for last year and puts NC State up 40-0.
We conclude this Friday night duel with a heavyweight bout here in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Johnny Niesenbaum for Duke, Tyree Houghton for NC State. NC State's already clinched the dual victory, but a chance now for Houghton and Niesenbaum to get out there and showcase their skills.
Yeah, when we asked head coach Pat Papalizio why he was going with Tyree Houghton, they've been going back and forth at heavyweight. They've actually got 3 really quality heavyweights on the roster. It was pretty simple. He said Owen Trefan, who's also on the roster and a guy they're going back and forth with, has beat Niesenbaum earlier this year. It was a 3-1 sudden victory match at the Battle at the Citadel. So he just wants to get a common opponent as another way to measure, are we going to go with Houghton? Are we going to go with Trefan? Or are we going to go with the guy that's the defending ACC champion, Deontay Wilson?
A lot of options. Goes back to the depth that NC State's been able to cultivate with some of these 6th-year returners to their roster.
Yeah, and those 3 heavyweights for NC State are all neck and neck with each other. It's very interesting how they've kind of assembled that room. I mean, Tyree Houghton, the guy you see out here right now, came in as a 197-pounder out of Weddington, North Carolina, and just kind of ended up bulking up into a heavyweight. And I mean, Niesenbaum, is a pretty big heavyweight, but I don't feel like he's significantly bigger than Houghton out there. I think Houghton's put on a lot of good size and is pretty close to a full-size heavyweight at this point.
Niesenbaum's been wrestling pretty well for Duke. He's won 3 consecutive matches, record up to 14-6 this year. Had a 3-1 sudden victory win at North Carolina last Friday.
I think Niesenbaum is one of the most improved wrestlers in the entire conference from last year.
That's one of the things that Glenn Lanham sort of told us in our conversation this week. He said, you know, he's been on the brink of pulling up some big matches together this year, and he's a guy that stayed around Durham all summer, really worked on his craft. And Glenn Lanham said, you know, he's due for a breakthrough.
Yeah. I love that story Glenn told us. He said, you know, some of these guys come in and they want to do it their way at first. They don't want to listen to their coach, and then it doesn't work. And then they decide to buy into what the coaches say. And that he mentioned Niesenbaum as a specific example, staying around this summer, training year-round. And I think you see the difference. I mean, this is a guy that was 1-6 last year. He's 14-6 right now.
Final 10 seconds of this opening period. Looks like both guys just content to head to the second period. 0-0.
It's what we call heavyweight wrestling.
That's exactly right.
I just hope Nick Gwizdowski is not happening to be tuning in right now. He might take offense at that and come find me.
One of the things we haven't talked a whole lot about is NC State trying to get to that 15-match threshold to be able to qualify for NCAAs. Pat Papalizio not really concerned because of some of the cancellations and the postponements they've had. Said that if we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to get to 15 matches. And one of the ways they've gone about trying to secure some extra matches will be tomorrow. 26 matches on the docket on campus for NC State wrestling against Presbyterian. Will count in the overall record, but a chance to get some guys some experience and some more reps.
Yeah, it'll be good for them to get a bunch of matches in. And Pat mentioned he wanted back-to-back weigh-ins for his guys. He always feels those are important. So they scheduled Presbyterian, made it work out.
Chaperone out of bounds there. We'll start back from neutral. Beg your pardon, Duke will choose down here.
Houghton very good on top. You saw him put Niesenbaum in danger a little bit, almost scoring some back points, and then you saw Niesenbaum put Houghton in a little bit of danger, almost in a defensive fall position, and then they went out of bounds and nobody scored any points. But a nice little back and forth, and now you see Houghton throwing the legs in, and this is where I think it's an advantage for him that Houghton has not been a career heavyweight. He's a guy that was a little bit smaller and is kind of growing into the weight class, and I don't think you normally see a lot of heavyweights throwing legs like Houghton does, and he's very good on top. Everybody in the wrestling world will remember his match against Tony Cassiope of Iowa. He came out there, and everyone thought, what is NC State doing, throwing Houghton out there, their third string guy? And he went out there and wrestled really well against Cassiope and had a power half on top that anybody I've talked to that knows anything about wrestling can't explain why it was stopped.
Has acquitted himself very well tonight so far. Both these guys have.
Niesenbaum right up to his feet off of this restart.
And 1 point there for Niesenbaum on the escape.
That leaves Houghton with 1 minute and 40 seconds of riding time. So
it's technically 1-1 here.
And that'll make the key. Houghton has to escape in less than 40 seconds when he gets his turn on bottom.
To the third period. Choice for NC State. Houghton chooses down. Houghton to his feet, gets the point for the escape, plus still has 1 minute and 34 seconds of riding time.
Yeah, if there's no other changes, Houghton will win this one 2-1. But you know Niesenbaum knows that, you know Houghton knows that. So we'll see if Niesenbaum's able to put together a takedown here. Double leg from Niesenbaum.
Going for the takedown here.
He's latched in on a single now. Houghton wrapped around his chest, trying to not give up that 2. Changes to a crotch lock. And I think Houghton's pretty safe here, out of danger. He might even turn it into 2 points of his own.
And he does. 2 points on the reversal.
That was a really interesting little limp leg out for Houghton. I haven't quite seen something like that, but it was like he was sprawling back, and then he was just like, hey, there's an easier way to get my leg free. He just steps out of it, gets his 2, and likely ices this one.
Especially with the riding time now up to 2 minutes as well.
And here he goes to work with that power half. And that's deep. This is trouble for Niesenbaum.
NC State 22 seconds away from a clean sweep in Durham.
Niesenbaum was able to get out of that power half, but Houghton not content yet, still looking for a turn here.
5 seconds. And it is indeed a sweep for NC State. The Wolfpack has now won 14 of their last 15 road duels and are 32-3 on the road in the last 7 seasons. Another impressive performance by NC State.
Yeah, top to bottom domination by the Wolfpack, but I think there were some close ones. That Tariq Wilson, Josh Finesilver match was a 1-point match. That was a good one. Hayden Hidley versus Matt Finesilver, 3-point match. Isaac Trumbull, Caden Russell, 1-point match. So some competitive matches, but in the end, NC State dominates.
Check out Friday Night Duels next week on ACC Network. It'll be Duke visiting Virginia Tech, 7 o'clock next week on ACC Network. The 5th-ranked Wolfpack comes on the road and holds serve in Durham as they sweep Duke tonight, 43-0. For Ryan Tice and the rest of our team, led by our producer Will Black, this is Chris Edwards saying so long from Cameron Indoor Stadium, where NC State wins it 43-0.